The NBA Finals is officially set as the Indiana Pacers defeats the New York Knicks at their home floor really handily in Game 6. They put up a statement in that game, especially Pascal Siakam being the best player on that floor with another 30-piece with great efficiency from both the field and from three. And that was the icing on the cake for Siakam to win Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Tyrese Haliburton with another 20-point, 10-assist game. Although he had 4 turnovers in this game, but he was on a roll in the fourth quarter, scoring 11 straight points, especially making 4 hook shots in a row. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the real S factor of this game is Andrew Nembhard. Nembhard has one of the best defensive performances so far this postseason, holding Jalen Brunson to only 19 points on 8 of 18 shooting. Nembhard was making life hell for Brunson in the half court. He couldn't find a good shot anywhere in the three-point line and can't really drive to the rim like he usually does due to Nembhard's physicality on that end. And not just him, the whole Pacers defense had ramped up the physicality, especially the gold bruiser badge at Karl-Anthony Towns, and he was at times was getting worn down on offense and can't really make plays from the outside because of how tired he was. And the Knicks bench didn't do shit either. I mean, Josh Hart was just flat out anus and was fouling the shit out of everyone. Deuce McBride was anus, only 2 points throughout the game, and the same thing with DeLon Wright. As for the Pacers, Obi Toppin had 18 points while being a threat from 3, especially from the lob, and was ferocious on defense. And Thomas Bryant, out of nowhere, gave them energy on defense and hit 3 threes with only 13 minutes played. Really goes to show you how fucking deep this Pacers roster is. And the Knicks in the second half just gave out. They didn't have the depth nor the offense and defense to keep up with an Indiana, especially in transition. And they couldn't make shots from 3, shot 28% from 3 overall, and was turning the ball over like crazy. With that said, Indiana is heading to the NBA Finals since 2000, which was a quarter of a century ago, which is crazy to think about. Now the finals are set, and the Pacers will be going up against not just the number 1 team in the NBA, but they're going up against one of the greatest teams in NBA history in OKC. They have as much depth on the roster compared to the Pacers. I will say that the Pacers bench are slightly better because of their better ability to score the basketball as well as shoot the three-pointer, and defensively they're not far off compared to OKC. As far as the star power goes, that edge will definitely go to the Thunder because they have the reigning MVP in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is having one of the greatest individual seasons in NBA history. This is a guy who won the scoring title, obviously the MVP, by leading this team to 68 wins with the best point differential in league history. He also led the league in scoring with 33, along with 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and shot nearly 50-40-90 splits. And this is with Chet Holmgren missing 30 games due to a hip injury. And in the postseason, they easily swept the Grizzlies, but against the Nuggets is something to be concerned over, particularly how the Nuggets defended Shai, playing that zone defense where they have 3 guys on the free throw line converging on Shai, forcing him to make bad passes, can't really go to his mid-range game. And this is a above average defense that he faced. Now, it was a different story with the Timberwolves in the conference finals because Chris Finch was reluctant to run that zone defense on Shai, which allowed him to do whatever he wanted despite having elite defenders like Jaden McDaniels on him, which is, by the way, coaching malpractice from Finch. And this is not the only time he done that, as he did the same thing in last year's postseason. But going back to OKC, despite them being an all-time great team, their postseason was not as impressive compared to what we saw from Indiana. I mean, put belt to ass to the Milwaukee Bucks, dismantled a Cavs team in 5 games that had one of the greatest offenses in league history, and won 64 games in the regular season, and beating the Knicks in 6, who dismantled the Celtics in the second round, who were the defending champions and had the same roster as last year. The Indiana Pacers are having one of, if not the most iconic underdog playoff run we've probably ever seen. The fact that this team has not only been dominant, but have been so unbelievably clutch, so much so that the Pacers have come back and won 3 times when they were down 10 plus points with under 2 minutes left of the game in the postseason. That is unheard of. With that said, there is a narrative that this NBA Finals matchup will be the lowest viewership in league history, and how no one is interested in watching this finals is just ridiculous. This matchup consists of the best offense in the league in Indiana, who had one of the most impressive postseason runs to date, matching up against one of the greatest defenses in league history. Both of them are small market teams hungry for a championship, and not just that, this is the matchup that could potentially become a rivalry throughout this decade because of the fact that the Thunder hasn't reached their overall peak just yet because of their age, and Indiana is relatively young too, and they haven't reached their peak yet. Both teams could own their own respective conferences for many years to come. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that this will happen because of how unpredictable this league has been throughout this decade in the second apron. I am not guaranteeing that this will happen, but based on the position that both teams are in, they can dominate their own conferences for many years to come and could match up with each other multiple times for the rest of the decade. Before this video continues, make sure y'all subscribe and turn on bell notifications for new NBA videos in the future. Back to the vid. Now looking at this finals matchup, this is by far the best offense that OKC will face this postseason. The Pacers' fast-paced and transition offense looked unguardable at times. Haliburton is the second best passer in the league behind Jokic, and in transition, Tyrese will make quick reads to his guys, and with his extraordinary playmaking, it makes it damn near impossible for teams to set up their defense, and we saw it from the New York Knicks. They will wear you down in transition because of how quickly they can get the ball all the way to their end and score. And the scary thing is that this opens up their offense so much that everyone is getting hot from three. And if that happens, then it's pretty much game over, especially if they are capitalizing the mistakes from their own opponent. Hell, the Pacers at times look like the 2017 Warriors as far as how incredible they are in transition and overall offense. Now, luckily for OKC, they have the defenders to slow down and stop the Pacers' transition offense by their point of attack at defenders in Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, and of course Caruso and Wallace on the helm. Loads of athletic, speedy defenders. They will swarm and blitz the fuck out of you with their physicality, and they are all-time great at creating turnovers. For OKC, they dealt with an elite playmaker like Jokic, and they did such a great job neutralizing Jokic to the point that he was putting up more turnovers than assists, which limits his ability to get guys more involved and disrupts the flow of the Nuggets offense. Now for Haliburton, it's tougher because of his speed to blow by defenders and create open looks, as well as being a threat driving to the rim, but still, the Thunder's defense, especially in zone, is second to none. They will always find ways to create turnovers by their exceptional IQ on defense, knowing when to attack, disrupting passing lanes, all sorts of things. Now, the Pacers are not only the best offense by far in the postseason, but they are elite defensively too. And Rick Carlisle is a championship level coach, and he was the one that implemented the zone defense against LeBron when he was with the Mavs back in 2011. This is when LeBron didn't have a developed outside game yet, and that got exposed by Carlisle's 2-3 zone. And it's very likely that he will pull an old trick of his sleeve against Shai, because you can really neutralize him with a zone defense like Denver did against him, because Shai isn't that much of a threat from the outside. So the Pacers' likely game plan is to force Shai to shoot three-pointers and get the ball out of his hands as soon as possible, force him to make bad passes like he did with Denver when they implemented that same defense. And the same goes for Tyrese Haliburton as far as the OKC's defensive game plan, and that zone defense is one of the biggest reasons why Denver was able to take OKC to 7 games. And Indiana is a much deeper, let alone better overall team than Denver. If they were to use that same scheme against Shai, then Indiana can definitely beat OKC and win the title. So for this finals matchup, I think is going to be more of a toss-up, a 7-game series. Yeah, OKC is viewed as the heavy favorite, and a lot of people think that OKC is going to gentleman sweep the Pacers. Fuck no. I would not be surprised if Indiana pulls off and wins the whole thing, given how dominant they were this postseason, how potent they are on offense, especially from the clutch. They have so many guys that can go off at any given moment, and they are elite on the defensive end as well. OKC better tighten up on offense, because at times OKC can make threes and offensively they look atrocious, especially in that Denver series. Hopefully J-Dub and Holmgren can maintain their superb play going into the finals, especially when Shai is having an off night. So that's all I got for you people. What are your thoughts on this video? Who are y'all's taking in this NBA Finals? I believe this Finals matchup can be the best in this decade, so let me know, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more new NBA videos, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so that way you don't miss anything new from me. Anyways, stay litty. This is the A-Man Show, signing out.